So let's kick things off with Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. Yeah, we got the first trailer for it on Tuesday, and I'll confess something going into this, right? The last time that I watched the first Aquaman was literally December of 2019. I have
Yeah,
not
in
recapped that
theaters.
movie since, and
Yeah,
yeah,
I myself just watch it once. Watch it like one more time. I think in on max for 2 seconds just to see a certain scene. And it's only for research purposes. That
okay,
was it. That was it. Never
right,
watch back the movie a second time other than theaters. Well, also
yeah.
it's in theaters.
Right. And I got the date wrong. It's actually 2018. Sorry about that, right? But
Okay,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for me, I enjoyed the film. I really
Had
enjoyed
fun.
it. Just
Yeah,
just I had fun with it. It was goofy. They had some
yeah,
unintentionally and unintentionally ridiculous moments, but I like that
yeah,
James Wan was just smart enough to just say, yeah, let's just revel in the aquatic insanity of it all and just have fun, right?
yeah.
And it was just a extravaganza. That's the best way I could
Yeah.
describe it, right?
It is, yeah, it's a damn shame that the DCU collapsed the way it did, because this to me was such a like a workable adventure. Like, this is where it should be, the material now. And as I
Yes.
said, I remember saying at the time, it's like, yeah, this should have come out before Justice League. It was kind of ridiculous that
Yes,
this
you're
came out
right.
after Justice League.
Yeah.
It's kind of like it's a real shame that that DC people couldn't get this shit together and have a proper structure how to tell them stories. Because yeah, this was I had fun with this. It was
Yeah.
dumb, pretty dumb, but I had fun. And
Yeah.
it no surprise it got a billion, because that's my call earlier, right?
Mm,
My kind of hypothesis about this stuff is that you have to have characters that not fully mainstream, and you just have them on the edge of mainstream, and they just push hard to bring them in. So much like how Iron Man and Captain America was mainstream figures, but they push them real hard and make a whole thing out of them. So they make them the locus of the MCU, and that's why the MCU works as the way it did, because it fresh but not it not like too out there now. It just, the second place person, you push them to the top. Same reason why Black Panther I think works so well, because he's never a truly mainstream character, but they put him into the mainstream limelight. It blew up in that way. And yeah, for the DC character, the two movies that most people you know like and did reasonably well was Wonder Woman and Aquaman, because those are the characters who they're popular, but they're not that popular, not mainstream popular, but they put them on the edge. And that's why I was not completely unsurprised that Aquaman did as well as it did. And not to mention Jason Momoa is a star.
yes, yes, indeed.
Yeah,
But thank
yeah.
you for reminding me of the fact that Justice League came before Aquaman,
Before,
though.
yeah.
Like, it makes
Yeah,
no
the first
sense,
Justice
Jet.
League, yeah.
That shows lack of confidence, right? But anyway, so I think the reason why I never recapped the first film was because I think I remember in one of those DC fandoms, I think it was I think it was the second one. I believe it was in 2021. I believe it was. That was when we got the first trailer for the Batman, right? The first official trailer for the Batman. Yeah, we were supposed to get Aquaman the Lost Kingdom December of that year, and it was like, nope, we're doing that again. So I just kind of
Yeah,
lost interest. And then, well, we got the um, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and after that, I
right.
just sort of like forgot about Aquaman. But I always told myself when the sequel was coming around, I'd recap it. It give me a reason to rewatch the film, right?
Yeah,
And I have to confess, well, just to jump into the trailer though, I had to remind myself of certain things. Like I forgot about certain characters, certain
yeah,
motivations, all that kind of stuff. But just to get it out of the way visually, it looks just as fantastic as the first movie do. I'm not even gonna go as far as saying, oh, they need to tweak some of the visual effects, so it still need work
well,
done or whatever. You could say that. Well, I would say if there's one moment that where you could tell they kind of need to kind of I don't know, refresh it or whatever, is the first big action set piece where you see Aquaman trying to stop this ship from crashing onto some platform or something along the line like that. Like just that moment,
okay.
I think they could kind of tweak that just a little bit though. But other than that, I was like, just visually, it just looked amazing. I love the music for it and how grandiose it was, and it just fits everything. I had to remind myself that, yeah, Arthur is a dad because, he hooked up with Mira. Right, I forgot about that. Oops, right? I will talk about Amber Heard near the end, right? I forgot what happened to Orm, but we kind of see what happened to him there. It's kind of
Right.
funny. But because I haven't seen the first film in a long while, I forget what that whole desert thing is about. I
Yeah,
completely forget. But I assume it's the same place that he and Mera went to in the first film. Can I remember that moment?
right.
And it kind of stood out like a sore thumb because, oof, there was a oh gosh, I forgot who sung it. Well, who was doing the main vocals? But I know
Right. There's another. Yeah,
Oh
popular
gosh.
song.
Yeah,
They do a remix of a
yeah,
song,
they
yeah.
took
Some
Toto's Africa, and
right,
it was
right, right,
Pitbull
right.
and some other
Yes,
artist boy.
right.
And
That is
I
what it was.
remember
Yes.
like
Yeah,
cussing out when I hear that. Though.
yeah,
It almost
rubbish. Yeah,
took me out of the show. It was terrible, right? But
yeah,
yeah, so I had to remind myself, all right, there was a desert and this
yeah,
thing, and I remember, okay, there was a lost kingdom because there was 7 kingdoms, and now we
yeah,
have
yeah.
this black trident, which now Black Manta owns now. I know the big question is, does it have to relate to, oh gosh, the king of Atlantis, and well, of course, Arthur's, dad, you know what I mean? So yeah,
Right,
I literally really do need to recap things, right? But for what the trailer set up, I am on board, right? I like the idea of, Aquaman's a dad and now he's king of Atlantis. But hey, Black Manta's like, nah, boy, you can't have all that, so I coming for you and your family. I coming for your child too, right?
right.
And there's speculations of what may happen to the child, because there's a blink and you missing moment where you see Amber Heard, as a mirror, banging on this window, like, of
Right,
this
right.
dome or whatever. So maybe it had to do with the child. We don't know. We'll see.
I
Um,
am hard pressed to think they're going to kill a baby in a thing movie, in
yeah,
a family
in
movie.
a mostly family
Eh,
friendly movie
yeah, exactly.
like
I
this.
doubt they're killing a baby. But to be fair, there is that scene in the post credits of Flash where you're all drunk and in a mess. So that might explain that. That
Yeah.
as I say, I make the really dark joke. I call it the Smash Mouth moment. If you get a reference, unfortunate, right? That's a dark
Right.
joke.
Okay. But
Yeah,
as
but
as I bring
so
up the whole drunk thing now, I do hope that they well, cause they set it up from what, from since Justice League, right? Yeah, you had to show Arthur taking a swig or two, right? They can't just
right,
throw that away just so, because people
right.
like to see drunk Aquaman apparently, right? Because it's funny, haha, he's
But the thing
drunk,
is,
right?
in the whole drunk Aquaman thing is before Mirror. Remember, he didn't have his shit together. So him being the king of Atlantis and being all responsible and having a child, yeah, he'd have probably give up the alcoholism, right, or whatever it is. Like I think that's actually quick rule of thumb bullshit. So to see him now after all of that, still drunk in a bar, can get up, I just assume something very bad happens. That's one theory. He still seems to have his hand, so I don't think they're doing the hand thing, the Captain Hook thing, the 120 some hours thing, if you get a reference to.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Uh, right. So they might do that because I know it like in versions of the storyline, the DC animated Justice League did this, where he cut off his hand to save the child. Uh, that was up. There was early episode in Justice League did that. Small thing, the small little thing. I like that they have Patrick Wilson does look like Aquaman, but the classic Aquaman.
Yes, yes,
You,
yes. I remember you
so
made note of that on Facebook when I tagged you on
right,
it, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's like interesting thing because he always looked like the Silver Age version
Yes.
in the first one, and then he looks like the '90s surfer dude, badass beard version. In this, because when they introduced him, it's like, oh shit, he look like a '90s Aquaman here though. Like that's a real smart, interesting choice. Like they decide to go with. Like I like
Yes.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part.
Right.
Yeah, so
Well. Well. Well.
little things like
Couple.
that.
Yeah. Couple things. Couple. I'm picking up on some Tor vibes. Some Tor vibes with the
A little
whole.
bit.
Okay. I'm
Yeah,
hooking up with my brother who tried to kill me. Hey, you know
yeah.
me. We working together
Right.
now,
Or
and
two.
also yeah, Tor too.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
oh, I'm a father now, right? But
Right,
the question is what they're gonna do with the wife, so to speak.
right,
And just to touch
right.
briefly on Amber Heard, though, I like the whole statement, the press statement that James Wan put out, how the first film was like a romance between Arthur and Mira. Now this one is going to be a bromance between Arthur and Orm.
Right.
Okay.
Well, they had to do a ton of rewrites and rehaulings because of the whole Underwood situation. So, like, I'm not
Yes.
surprised.
Yes.
And yeah, here's the thing, eh? She wasn't even that good of an actress in the first place. So, this kind of
True.
just.
True.
So, I'd probably do this
Oh, and she was
anyway.
worse
But
in
this.
Justice League, by the way. She was worse in that.
Yeah, she was
Oof.
terrible.
Yeah.
But she was terrible in Aquaman. I thought she wasn't all that good anyway. So, like, all right, well, moving on.
Yeah.
So
So
nice.
so so I feel like I just make the joke on Facebook that I will just, it will be a blink and you miss it moment. Like I will just blink once and be like, oh shit, she was in the movie. Like I didn't even
You
know
know?
that, right? Yeah, I feel she will barely have any screen time, but they still
Yeah.
had to make her character work in the story. But
Right.
I'll close with this. I don't think they will kill her. They probably will, but
I,
I don't
I
think
feel it might.
it
Because
might
what they
look
could
in
do.
poor taste like, oh well, you see what you did, Amber Heard. All right, cool. Let me just off she off.
No, they could do that because they could flip it and have her be the one take the sacrifice with the baby. Too. I don't know.
True, true, true. That,
I
that,
don't
that,
know.
that, that yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah, yeah.
Possibility.
But yeah, other
So
than that though, this had me excited. I really want to see it. I can see myself watching this in IMAX, just like I watched the first one in
yeah, I could
IMAX
see.
too, right?
I could make an effort and watch it. So
Yeah.
I ain't mind. So
And
it's
it
like
coming out
whatever.
December 20th too, which is great because I
Right.
remember
Yeah.
the first one I remember seeing it on Boxing Day actually. and it just made for like just a great post Christmas, line
So
in the
yeah,
theaters. There.
I gone see there's another Christmas water movie at Christmas. You
you know,
know, this is what the third water movie at Christmas on Christmas weekend. The Black Panther, then Avatar, then this now. Oh God.
you know,
All right. But yeah,
yeah,
I gonna make the effort. I'll probably make the effort to see it. I have
right.
no idea how much backlash is going to get, or if it's going to be another Flash situation. Because of Amber Heard, I have no idea how much that's going to affect the situation. I have no
Mm,
clue. I'm to be fair, but I don't know what's going to happen there with that. But another thing too is that I'm not sure if Jason Momoa's star power could carry something because to this day I'm still quite surprised that do I call it Black Adam did as badly as it did. I really thought that Rockstar Power was going to carry that, and it didn't. And so I was thinking the reason, a big factor as to why, um, the first one did so well is because of Jason. A big factor was Jason Momoa's star power. I don't know if that's the case anymore. Right? We don't know what's going on. I still don't
that's
know
true.
if that. I don't know, but I think this will do okay. I mean, it is good. It's a good time in Christmas time, and it's not a bad time, and
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's great. People want a
Yeah,
reason. Well, people like
but
me, I should
uh,
say, want a reason to go to cinema, right?
right, but I ain't going to put. I don't know. I don't feel I'm going to put the chips on the table for this one in terms of like how well it'll do. Like I'm not betting on this one to do real good or anything like that. Unlike the first one where I did a big call and I was completely right. I said no, this movie gonna make $1 billion. We'll just watch. And a lot of people like dismissed me at the time. But most people was like no, it had the right things to come together. This time I ain't really sure. But because the Justice for Johnny thing is like a big factor, and I have no idea how much I'll factor in, to be honest. Well, we'll see.
Yeah,
We're looking for.
we'll see.
It
It,
like it's
it,
looking
it
fun.
does.
Yeah,
And yeah,
yeah.
I do echo your opinion. I really do hope the whole Amber Heard thing does not, weigh down. Like I know it'll be hovering over this movie like a dark cloud, though. But I hope that
Well,
it does
it's
not
not us.
like dilute the film. Right? When I mean
Right,
like
but it's
like
not.
okay, the
Yeah, no.
rewrites and the this and the that and the this and the that now because of this one person. I hope
Well,
that
the
it
thing
does good.
is, yeah, the thing is that her situation has been resolved for the most part. Like for the most part, her situation has been resolved with that. Unlike Ezra Miller, where straight up nothing has happened to him. Well, them, with their situation, nothing has happened. So it's almost as if the studio ignored it completely. In that case, but the case of Amber Heard, that situation has sorted itself out and played out for the most part. Right, money and whoever it is, their own personal business played out in that way. Whatever, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. But solid trailer nonetheless, though. I
Yeah,
really want to see it. I just hope we just get one more trailer. If they put out a third one, I'll be like, no, thank you, I'm good. I will
right.
we'll wait till December 20th and see everything
But
for
they
myself,
look
right?
like they look like they rehold the story in a smart way because like they make it about Black Manta and this whole Black Trident thing. And like, all right, let's see what about. Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. So sticking with Warner Brothers for a little bit longer now. Apparently there's a Tiny Toons reboot. I didn't
Sure.
even know about it, but
Yeah.
yeah, what is it about? Like what going on?
Yeah, so yeah, they straight up reboot the show, Dread, like complete reboot. Because okay, so I was watching it and I was noticing it's an outright reboot now instead of like there's some kind of instead of what it did with Animaniacs where it just picks up and it's in the present day and it treats the with a working continuity. This doesn't do that. This just outright reboots the material from scratch. So they change a bunch of little small things like this time Buster and Babs are related to each other. They're brother and sister. Alright, okay. Uh
Okay.
yeah, kind of weird. Yeah, well, are they seem to be like akin to twin brother and sister, so like a fraternal twin situation. But when in the case of rabbits, it's like common. So and they make a joke about her. They update a couple things. One thing that I thought would be cringe, but she actually is quite funny. Sweetie Bird is this kind of you know feminist break down the patriarchy type figure. I really thought that would have been like terrible and cringe, but no, it's actually the character is not that bad for what they do with it. They don't like make a big deal out of it, but they make it work. Then Plucky is the same character, straight up the same character. But he was a great character
He
back
was
in the
always one
first.
of my favorites anyway.
One of the best, yes,
Yes.
because they evolve him properly from Daffy in all the good ways. What they do with this one, oh, and Hampton is great, but what they do with Hampton I like is where Hampton is a legacy character. So he his mom was this big like showbiz person in days, and now he taking the reins, but he don't like to. He not he have natural talent for comedy, but he don't want to do comedy, and they make a thing out of it. And that's kind of the big
I
core
guess
conceit
that
of this one.
explains the whole "that's all, folks" joke. I guess.
Right. Right. So what's clever about this? This is not bad. It's more in the same vein as the Looney Tunes show from about 10 years ago. In terms of the humor. And that's a show I really like, and let's be clear, that is a criminally underrated show. That is with the Lola Bunny, Kirsten Wiig, Lola Bunny. That show. That's about 10 years ago. Love that show. So the humor is in that vein, in my opinion, but it also feels like Tiny Toons. One thing that was always confusing about Tiny Toons for me was that it's calling itself like Acme Looniversity, but it seemed to be more like middle school in terms of the age, uh, and that was kind of weird to me. The whole thing was just a kind of yeah, it's similar to the Looney Tunes show from about 10 years ago in terms of the style of humor, and I like it. I like it for that, and then it really similar to the Tiny Toon show in its original conceit of it. But somebody had a great. I just happened to encounter it on TikTok. I get the algorithm picking me up now. Uh, Somebody has a great like point about this new show, which is the show having to do a outright reboot. Um, in itself is a kind of commentary on the whole millennial concept, on the idea of millennials. And think listen, the man say it way smarter than me, but he make a point about showing how after Tiny Toons was cancelled, none of the Tiny Toons shows went on to do anything. It have nothing like Buster and Babs never had other shows. It's only Elmira. That character had her own show for a while. That was like one
Yes.
season, and then that's it. And then they just brought back Looney Tunes all the time from since 30 years ago.
Yes.
And that's why they reboot this show because they would have had to address that. So here's the thing. Confession, I didn't watch all the episodes because it's not done. I thought they dump all of them in one. Apparently not. They dump about 10, and I think they're going to release like about, I, I think another bunch of others later. So
Okay.
all of it isn't out yet. So that's why when I realized that, I was like, all right, well, I'm not going to finish this 10 then. Because it's not going to be all the material. So I watched like half the season so far. Um, but it was good so far. I enjoyed it for what it is. What they do with this is that they focus on the schooling of them in particular and them learning to be school people. You know, really, I never got that in the original Tiny Toons. Like two things.
Neither me. Neither me. From what
Yeah,
I
two
could
things.
remember. Yeah.
It never felt like college. That always felt like middle school or even primary school to me. Um, it never felt like college. That felt like
No, I
because
think
those
it was
characters felt
primary.
young.
Well, I think it was the equivalent of primary school, right? Because they were kids, right?
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. But they say Looniversity, so it's like oh this
Yes.
is supposed to be right. But I remember like they went on a field trip in one episode. It had they had summer school like a summer thing, and it was played like if they were very young children. In this, they're college students. They make it very clear it's an undergraduate degree they're doing more or less. That's the age you should think about it. But it doesn't try to feel mature or anything like that. They just play all the beats. And one thing that's kind of very glaring, because you could tell they probably wanted to make this about 30 years ago. They still have a bunch of shit from the 90s that is very 90s. Very little of it feels like it's not like on the internet or when they modernize something, it feels like something from 15 years ago in terms of modernizing a concept. So like they have characters still dancing to a boombox for some reason. Like what? What about boombox? Like
Okay.
that's it's weird.
Is
Like
that
it's
supposed to be a joke? Wink, wink. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know, but it weird. But yeah, they make a lot of like good character stuff for it. I don't hate this. Like it's not that bad. Like it makes a lot of decent material. They have Babs and Buster having a bunch of decent arcs. Plucky have a decent arc for what they do. They have some decent episodes for what it is. They figure out a way to how like I try to you're waiting and looking for when other characters gonna show up and why. So Montana Max has to show up. Yeah, we see why. But and then they disassociate Montana Max from Yosemite Sam, for example. He's just Max in this, and I don't know if it's like there's a throwing shade at David Zaslav by actually calling him Max. I don't know, right? But yeah, they make a whole thing about it. Like you see what Lola Bunny's relevance is. So it's like, all right, I like what they do there. Granny is really funny in this because she's the dean. That's really funny. They have Yosemite Sam as the security guard. They change up enough. They have a coffee house place on campus that is like the Lou Brew. And that they make a whole thing with that and a whole episode. And they reference stuff. And what I like about it is it's smart decisions in terms of like just straightforward comedy episodes, and they just treat it as a new thing. And that's not that bad. I don't hate this. I don't love it either. It's not like some masterpiece of comedy or anything like that. But at the same time, it doesn't do any big set of referential stuff on its own. Like it don't try to tell you what happened in the last 30 years and try to make a bunch of social commentary in that way, which is a smart move ultimately because that would have bogged down the material. And if it could do something with it or make it relevant or make it political in some smart way, like what they're doing with say what they did with the first season of the when anime came back, that was okay. Or like what did you do in New Futurama? Some of that okay, but it's still kind of falling flat, right? Don't try to get all try to think about it. Just tell your own story, make it about these characters, and just keep it simple. Like what they did with the Looney Tunes show about 10 years ago. It was just there's funny character beats and funny comedy beats, and they just make a funny episode on its own, and it feels like that isolated. I enjoying it. Right, I'll watch the rest tonight and finish that off. But I'm enjoying it for what it is. It's pretty good.
All right, well, I'm actually curious to check it out for myself, yes, because yes,
Yeah,
I actually grew up on Tiny Toon Adventures. So,
yeah,
but again, when you told me that there was a reboot, I was like, I did not even know that. So, yeah,
yeah,
I'm curious. I'm gonna check it out, right? So
yeah.
we'll close off this Warner section now with the fourth season of Harley Quinn, right? So I will
You sure?
attempt to do a synopsis for this, right? Because I'll explain why, right? So Harley Quinn, right? I absolutely enjoy the show.
Yeah,
But just me two reasons why it works, right? Well, sorry, three reasons why it works. One, the multi-talented voice castness, though, whether it's Katie
yeah,
Kuko who plays Harley Quinn or Lake Bell who plays Poison Ivy, like everybody just brings the A game, right? They just sound
yeah,
so vibrant, right? Also, the subversion, if you will, of the characters, right? So it's the
yes,
characters that you know from all these DC superhero properties, right? But it's just like they just take just a few aspects about them or things that you probably wouldn't even know unless you're some kind of like comic book nerd, and just flips it
yeah,
on its heels, right? And just kind of
yeah,
adapts it in a zany modern kind of way, and it totally works, right? Also, just the humor, how quick it is, how irreverent it is. You know what I mean? It just, just goes all out to it. You know what I mean? In terms of just like not so much offending you, Dre, but just giving you like just pure, unadulterated adult comedy. Do like they just swing for the fences for this, right? But when it comes to like just talking about a season of a show of this show, it's very hard though because there's a lot that goes on, right? And I remember that being a particular issue with the last season where there's a lot of like things going on, right? But I loved how it ended though. Like I thought the ending was
yeah.
pretty interesting with Bruce Wayne being arrested. We'll get
Right.
into that a little bit. But and then well, the big surprise for me now was Poison Ivy
Right.
being CEO of the Legion of
Right.
Doom,
Yeah, she
and for
take over. Yeah.
reasons Harley Quinn, joining the Bat family. That
Batman.
really
Right. Right. Right.
surprised me now, right? So yeah, that's where season four kicks off, right? So it's just yeah, well, I mean Harley and Poison, they're still a couple, they're still together. But yeah, the band is all split up now. So
Right.
Clayface now doing like Broadway shows. King Shark is a dad. Even though he
Mm.
wife to really give a shit, but like and he ended up like I think it's how much kids he have? He have like 9 kids, I think it was, or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
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 But he's still part of the Legion of Doom because the whole Harley Quinn group is no more now, so he just like literally trying to get a job, right? It's weird that they throw away the whole, king of whatever it was, whatever kingdom that he was in. Now it's just, oh, I'm a dad and I'm trying to get a job, right? But yeah,
Right.
the show itself, well, I should say the season really centers on Harley and Poison Ivy, right?
Right.
And there's a lot of shenanigans going on between the two and individually, right? That I can like if I stop and just explain every little bit of detail, it'll just take up too much time, right? But in a nutshell, it's just really about both characters in both Harley and Poison in different elements and just trying to sort their way out, right? So with Poison Ivy, she feels like, okay, I'm CEO, I'm running Legion of Doom,
Right.
but when I came in first, all the male villains kind of looking down on me like, oh, you're a woman,
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and I like how they touch on that too, right? But
Yeah.
then it just gets to a point where everybody just being ridiculous now, and she just let things get to her head.
Where that goes, I really like,
Mhm.
especially involving Talia al Ghul.
Yes, yes, yes. Well,
Yeah.
good thing you bring up that. Yeah, much
Yeah.
to my surprise, Talia al Ghul show up as well, right? I don't know who the voice actress for this though, but I don't know.
Right.
It's just me like every time somebody has to play Talia though, she always have to have this like seductive, sultry
Yeah.
voice though, but it totally
Yeah. Yeah.
works, right?
Vaguely Middle Eastern figure. Yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Right, and she bringing she own kind of businesswoman aspect to things, but
Right.
it's within the lens of being a villain. So and you get some great jokes out of that too, right? There's this weird PR team that shows up and drama takes place, but at the heart of it all, though, you have Lex Luthor, though, who just can't
Right.
stand the fact that
This
hey,
dark
she's running,
funny villain.
the Legion
Yeah.
Doom. So he come up with this really dumb, and I have to stress this, a dumb plan,
Yeah.
for world domination, pretty much. And the whole
Well,
point of
where
all
where
this
it
is
goes,
just, it's just
where
to
that
acquire
ultimately
power.
goes. Yeah, the where that ultimately goes is hilarious. I love it.
Yes.
Like the ending. The ending is great because it's like you're watching it and you're thinking, what happened here? And you're putting the pieces together until the ending. And like, all right, that was real funny and
Yes, yes,
clever.
yes. Um, but in terms of Harley Quinn now, it's because she made that promise to Bruce. It's like, all right, I'm gonna be a hero now, but I don't know, you know what I mean? Because I'm a villain and I like to bash people over the head with baseball bats, right? With my bat, sorry, right? So how can I cope with Nightwing and Damian as in Young Robin
Right.
and Batgirl? And they don't like that. There's a bit involving Alfred, and when they took that had me
That
in
is very funny as
stitches.
well.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, right? So I have to spoil this, right? Alfred literally turned to crimes just so he could go and be the butler for
So
Brewster. But
yeah,
he going to Blackgate now, and in the end they sent him to Arkham House. When I see that I was
yeah,
like, nah, that's it. But the moment that had me cracking up though is when Harley realized that he was robbing her back there. That's how he
yeah,
talking. Oh, I would like these in like small amounts, please. It's like how he requested that the receptionist give him the money now. You know what
yeah.
I mean? The bank teller. Sorry, that had me cracking up. Just the formal way he's robbing a bank. That had me going right. And yeah, it eventually. Well, I'm actually not gonna spoil how now, but it actually leads to some supposed, like a supposed split personality thing going on with Harley
Right, right.
because, yeah,
I
there's
find that was kind of arbitrary. Like, why did us bring that into the narrative? But where it goes and what she what she says, where it ultimately leads to, is kind of
yes,
funny. But the final episode seems to address it. The ending is very funny. Like
it
that last
is.
piece. I thought that's like because they're doing all right. Well, so kind of spoilers. Red Hood. That's all I'll say.
Ah, yes, 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 yes,
But
yes. Yeah, yeah, sure.
it's not the right Robin. That's all we'll see.
Right, right,
Um,
exactly.
so
Just a few
we
more
get like
things.
that.
Yeah, just a
Yeah.
few more things, right? Much to my surprise, after kind of see it because it happened midway. The kill off Nightwing. Catch me
Well, that's what
completely
I'm
by
saying.
that's where we'll stop it off at, right? But
Right.
yeah, that catch me completely by surprise. There was this bit involving like emphasis on his ass for some reason.
Yeah.
It's very crass and very immature in my opinion, but it's Harley doing a majority, always telling this joke, right? And I mean, it's Harley Quinn the series, right? So you have to expect humor like that, right? But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just really about Harley and Poison Ivy in just these
Right.
different elements trying to deal with things, right? So just to jump into my thoughts on this season here, right? I really enjoyed it. Not as
Yeah.
much
I thought it was great.
as yeah, well, not as much as all that though, but I really enjoyed it, right?
Right.
What really held it back for me is it's kind of like the same thing that goes on with this show in general, right? Where it seems to just be spinning a lot of plates, right? It's doing a
Right.
lot with its characters, right? And I
Yeah.
felt like some characters are emphasized a lot, but near the end now, where it really is about Harley and Harley and Poison Ivy and Lex and a few other characters associated with them. Yeah, like the other characters just kind of get sidelined for some reason, though. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't sure why. So case in point, Bean, one of my favorite characters, right?
Right.
Yeah, they give he this kind of weird subplot where he attracted to
With you.
Nora, i.e.,
Right.
Mr.
And
Freeze's wife.
The Nora stuff still not funny to me. Like Nora
Yeah,
being just
like
kind of
yeah,
airheady. None of
yeah,
that
like
working. Like
and being
because they have
crass
her with
and it's like, oh yeah, I don't give a
right.
fuck, blah 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 blah.
Right. Right.
That
Right.
she
Right.
like
Yeah.
okay, it was kind of funny when they had the whole Swamp Thing episode. It was
For the
kind of
first
funny
time.
then,
Right. Exactly.
but I was like, all right, we still doing this, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
this is bit involving Bean and he attracted to she and it
Yeah. Yeah. And
starts off with having
he
to
went to
replace
Italy and yeah. Yeah.
the handle for some pasta maker. So the
Yeah.
man going to
Yeah.
Italy to get
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
replaced and where that went, I
Yeah,
was like, all
none
right,
of it is.
okay,
Yeah,
but
yeah. To
where
be
is
honest,
the book?
a lot of that could have cut. To be honest, like it was
Yeah,
not that funny and it didn't go anywhere in that way. And I get it, but I don't know where is it not making sense in the context of being as a character. So like I don't
exactly.
get where they're going with it. Now. Whatever.
Like I know
But the stuff,
Bean is an idiot and he's always about
right?
the plans and the destruction and
Yeah,
blah, right? But
yeah,
that just felt totally out of place for him, right?
yeah.
It kind of sucked too for me that I didn't see enough of Clayface and King Shark though.
That yeah, miss a lot of
Yeah,
Clayface. Yeah, I
boy,
miss
like
Clayface in particular. Yeah,
yeah, it was kind of a little off-putting, but I kind of get why in the context because of how
right.
level-headed Poison Ivy was. well, sorry, airheaded as she was, with because she gained power now, so she let it get to her head now. Yeah, so she and Cleefy like real quarreling every time they see each other. They always
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of cuss each other out. It just felt a little out of place, though. You know what I mean? Like I want to
Right.
see Cleefy, see goofball, not Cleefy like fuck you, Poison Ivy, and you're not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
get any
yeah.
tickets to my show, and they just
No,
kind
the,
of
the,
stop
the,
it
the
there.
joke is, yeah, no, I get the joke because the joke, they're working with the joke of, well, he have power and money now. He's not some
Yes.
starving artist anymore now. So he changed his personality. I get it. Like, I get what they're going for. But
Yeah.
yeah, I want to see more Cliffy stuff.
Yeah,
But the best stuff,
even in the final moments, the final episode,
he shows up in the finale. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but just that's a
Right.
bit and that's it. But yeah, go on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, the stuff. Here's the thing. It has all the arbitrary side stuff doesn't work, and I do miss Cliffy's and King Shark. But
Hmm.
the locus of both Harley and Ivy, especially Ivy's stuff, all Ivy
Yes,
stuff is great.
yes.
All her stuff is
I
great.
love that because it's not just touching on the fact that she is a woman, but also yeah, she's a villain, but she's trying to do good. I love like this little set piece, this little story arc, for example, where she had this plan of removing all the male trees and replace them with
Right,
female trees, and
right,
it's
right, right,
like
right,
all
right.
this elaborate scheming and all that kind of stuff there,
No,
but
they're
it's
right. They
under the
do.
guise
They
of
run right.
oh, I'm doing the world a favor, but it's actually about her kind of
Right,
world domination, but through a feminist lens. Like I like that.
right.
I
No,
like
they
that.
do. They do the right. They do that really well. So the whole social justice villainy stuff is, I think, is very clever because it totally backfires in the context of what she tried to do. Love that. That I find is very clever. Secondly, she has her own little group. The I forget the name of the group, but it's
Oh,
Terra,
oh gosh,
Volcana,
why
and
does why the natural
natural
disasters?
disasters. Right,
Yes,
yeah, yeah. And I forget the third woman.
but
But
as
it's
you say
Terra.
that, Terra, for some
Yeah.
reason she look Amazonian. I know she's not, but where's she from again?
Nah.
I know
No,
she
Terra's from Teen Titans.
right. That's where she
Yeah,
from.
yeah,
I forgot.
the
Yeah.
rock powers, and then Volcana is a character original from the DCAU. She was a
Okay.
Superman character
All right. I
in DCAU.
didn't know. And well, the other one is related to Swamp Thing.
I
I
don't know where
think.
she's from.
I
I think so, but I don't know
yeah.
where she's from. I forget where she's from. But
Okay.
yeah, that little thing with them as a little mentorship, but she lose faith with them because she had this kind of, I forget the name of those guys with it's like an all gay group,
Yeah,
but
that's the PR team I was
they
talking about, and they
the
just
PR team, but
dictating
it does
every
multiply.
single thing that yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
it's some kind of weird like
right,
like morph thing that they do, which
right, 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 right.
look crazy AF too, but I get
Yeah.
what they're trying to see with it. I get like
Right.
you know
The stuff with Barbara is good. Gordon is
yes
okay. Again, kind of funny on its own right. What they ultimately do with Barbara is like, all right, they're doing this. But
yeah
where that ends up, I find was really good. That is like a good place to evolve the story. Because
yes
something I was bothering me with this, right? It's like, wait, okay, we're gonna do it with Harley Quinn and justify where the story gonna evolve. And at episode 10, it comes back to that, and I thought, okay, that's a good place to end this and put that in a good space.
yes. What I
And
would say
then
without spoiling too is that they mention a title. I like how she say, oh, what we should call ourselves so. And like, well,
no, yeah,
no,
yeah,
we're not that. So I love that.
right.
That was great. Like, it's funny to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that to me the natural space to carry that now, especially with the stuff with Ivy just falling through now, and what seems to happen to Lex Luthor, which is kind of funny in its own right.
Yeah.
Um,
By
but
the way,
that
speaking of Lex, so Lex was being a real like
terrible, real
ass in
trash.
this too. My
But
God.
it was good villain stuff for Lex because like where it was going and why he was doing it. It's like, yeah, it's a real petty shit now, and that's funny.
Yeah.
That was funny to me.
But like the way
But
how he compensated for it too, like there's this
yeah,
bit
boy,
involving him like
puppy
doing some kind
legs,
of popping his
yeah,
ties, and it's
his
just like
calves,
bro,
yeah,
like his calves, like bro, what you
yeah,
doing, Trent? But
yeah,
I
yeah.
do appreciate the fact that we get more of Lex in this because it's great
Yes,
hearing Giancarlo Esposito
yeah, yeah,
just
yeah,
can,
yeah,
can tell he just having fun with this role
yeah.
though. I just love the fact that you're seeing and hearing more of him in that show. The plan with him and Superman was great.
Yeah,
There's a
that
bit
real funny
with
too.
Superman and the moon though. When I see that, I
Yeah,
was like, all right, that's the type of show
yeah,
you're watching. Okay, I can
yep.
live with that.
That was funny too. That
That
was
was
funny
funny.
too.
That's how he
Yeah,
wrapped that up. That was funny, right?
yeah.
Um,
But they make the conceit of that whole thing play out really well, and then especially involving Talia al Ghul and the whole, yeah, the other women they're really on your beat now. It's like, yeah, they just wanted the money and they just want
yeah.
it back too, and it's like, yeah, nothing gonna change. And I like that Ivy went through that whole arc. There's a great episode involving, all I'll say is some time travel. That is
Yes.
some that was some funny shit on its own right because of where Damien turned out, because that is in
Just
the
why?
comic. That is in the comic. I thought we'd
Oh,
get some
okay.
Terry McGinnis. I thought we would get some Terry McGinnis stuff, but like the timeline don't really add up. But that's some Damien stuff. But what they did with it is very funny. That is
Yes.
very funny what they did with that. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Just
overall, yeah, go
last
ahead.
put right. So sorry. So couple characters I want to mention. Steppenwolf makes an appearance.
All right,
They didn't really do,
right, that's the Lex stuff. Yeah,
yeah, they didn't do much with him, but when he's there, it's like, hey, you in this, okay, cool, right?
yeah,
But last but not least, we had to talk about Joker though. I love what
right.
they did with
I
him,
no
where
right.
basically he's
Yes,
like, you know what, I don't need
yeah,
whole Mia thing, and yeah,
you're right.
I still a stepfather and all that kind of stuff. That's cool,
The
but
ended it with
hey, I
him.
kind of want
It's
to
so
be a
good though.
villain too, Yeah, I kind of want to
Right,
do this again. I like how
and
he gets
the
roped
family take
into
his
it,
side.
and how he
Yeah.
uses Barbara as a springboard for it. I love that. That
Yep.
was great. That
Yep.
was great.
Yep. Yeah, no, that whole thing was really well done and fun. It felt a little rush at parts, like in terms of like how to why he went from that point to that point. But it was building for a while, so they paid it off in a decent enough way. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
overall, I like this a little more than I did season 3. Mostly
Mm.
because I really was worried if it was going to evolve. When I was watching it, I was wondering where it's going to go. And when it ended it off, I thought it was solid. Like I like that. When they did
Yes.
it to the ending, where Harley is, it's a real troublesome space because she kind of lie about something. But and I thought that plot was a little rushed. That will involve all we'll say is something involving a potato.
Oh
Um,
yes, 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 yes. And
I felt I
if
felt
I
that
just have one other gripe though, 'cause everything else I pretty much enjoy for the most part. Yeah, some of these things feel really really rushed, even by Harley Quinn standards, right? Especially like the
right,
last set of episodes, like from the time travel up to the end, I just felt like they were just rushing through,
right,
story acts.
yeah,
Even like again, sacrificing certain characters because they just have to rush this story along. And while I do
right,
love the ending and all the season
yes,
ended, yes, even some moments there just felt really rushed to me, right? But yeah, go on.
right. But since they resolved it so well, I get the feeling that the reason why it was so rushed is because they want to do a bunch of dog work to
Right,
build up
right.
the next season instead of having it be a natural arc. So they clearly like leaning up to the last season and where they're going with that. For well the next season, for what they're trying to do, especially the last piece involving a certain character and the last spit. That's all we'll do, right? I thought the season was good. I liked it more than season 3, right? But season 2 is still the best. Season 1 is still better than this one. But 2 is still the best in my humble opinion. But yeah, still solid show overall. I enjoy it. It keep again rule of thumb. If it keeping my attention and I'm not on my phone while I watch it, feeling like I'm obligated to watch it or anything like that, that's a good sign. Usually with some of these shows, I find myself on my phone watching and saying, "Oh, well, I'm still watching it, but I just paying attention on the side, kind of thing, and I'm doing something else." No, it actually had my attention the entire time. This was pretty good. So yeah, rating, I don't know, 8 out of 10, probably like a 7 if anything. I felt coming down to the end and they rushed some stuff, but for the most part, I enjoyed it. Yeah,
Yeah, same here too. Yeah, for me, like the decent 4 to 5, man. I really enjoyed it as well. Despite the flaws that I gave, just how rushed it felt, how certain characters get a lot of screen time, but they didn't really like capitalize on it more. Sorry, I should say some characters get more screen time than others. I felt like certain story arcs wouldn't really resolve with those, side characters and whatnot. But other than that, though, the humor is still on point. By the way, the jokes too, like. I don't know how they get away with these jokes, so I'll just give one. Well, just mention a hint of one. They do a joke about the mother boxers. I
yeah,
rewind that shit like 3 times. Where I was like, "Us, how they get away with that, dog?
that's a
How?
funny joke though. Yeah,
How?
yeah, that's a funny joke. It's a funny bit. Yeah, you get it.
I,
Yeah,
I
okay.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how they do this. I don't know how they get away with
So
this
quick,
though.
you gotta drop it quick and then move on. I
But that's
don't
what it
mention.
did.
Just drop it quick and move on.
That's
Yeah, but yeah, overall I just say it did some smart stuff. It did some nice subversive stuff as usual. Like it's like, oh, they're doing this with this character instead. They're doing that with this character instead. I like that. Nice changes. It's nice smart changes for the most part. Yeah, it's inventive writing and good evolution for the material. And it's
yes.
still funny for the most part. Like
It
it's not
is.
it doesn't feel like the comedy like slipping or they're trying too hard or anything like that. Like so yeah, I enjoyed for that.
No, no. I mean, the humor is still on point. Though voice
Yeah,
acting is great. Like for me, the standouts will always be Keely and Lake Dread, like as
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Harley and Poison Ivy, especially Lake Bell. Though, like
Yeah.
this how she delivers her lines. Though feels very organic. Though very real. Like while Harley is always like animated and loud, you know Poison Ivy just always sounds normal, like legit, like you're hearing a real person talk and how
Yeah.
she thinks and acts and all that kind of stuff, right? So it's great. But yeah, another solid season here. But I'll close this, right? So you're there, like I just there watching everything play out, right? And I just there like, but wait now, somebody missing, Kite Man, right? And then I
Mhm.
believe it's on the day that the final episode dropped. Well, the season premiere, sorry, season finale dropped. They dropped a trailer for Kite Man. Hell yeah! And I saw it. I just did like, all right, I like this. I hope it could go past, say, 2, 3 seasons. But I
Right.
like the idea of him having his own show. So I guess that
Right.
they'll focus on, well, him and his new girlfriend. I forgot her name right now. But there's moments in the trailer with her like just like decimating people. Though it's still like,
Right.
wow,
Right.
what
Right.
they
Right.
like real stressful of that though.
Yeah.
And the humor
Yeah.
is
One
still
thing. One
as
thing I
crass
thought
as
the
ever. Like with the opening bit where he's talking, confessional
right.
moment. Yeah, I was like, all right, yeah, same thing, sorry.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The only thing I thought they would have mentioned, or at least something would have dropped, but I suppose this material unfinished long before is the passing of Alan talking. I thought that would have come up
All
at some
right,
point. So
yes, yes.
did a RIP or something like that. That's about it. So yeah.
Yeah, they probably will. They probably will. But yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Kite Man, hell yeah. I'm excited for this. At least intrigued by it, right? But we have to wait till next year. Next year, sorry, to see that, right? But now wondering now if it means that this show Harley Quinn is going to end, like end for good, and then well, Kite
Well,
Man is just going to be
probably.
the continuation, if you will, of that. Because I
Yeah,
think that we could
maybe.
get probably like just 2 more seasons out of Harley Quinn. I don't
Right.
think it should go
Right.
beyond
In my humble
six,
opinion, yeah.
But
Yeah, but once it crossed 4, then that is when the pointer kind of interesting spaces be where it need to be like 1 or 2 more. I don't stuff in my humble opinion, shows shouldn't go beyond 6 seasons. That's how I feel about stuff like this because yeah, this kind of really sort of way out is welcome after that. Talking about you Archer in particular.
oh yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, no. I think it should 2 more seasons. I could live with 2 more seasons, and that is it. Yeah.
Right, cool, cool.